we really work and love working in that fully custom space where we get to build an experience completely from scratch and make it about the user, with the user at the center of the experience.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hello, and welcome back to the show. I hope you're doing really well. Thank you so very much for joining us. My name's Rick Nuske. I'm the host, and it is a pleasure to serve you. I've been reading through your feedback, which you know that I love to do, and getting that feedback makes all of the difference, knowing that the show's making a difference for you. Now, speaking of making a difference, today I'm on the line with the wonderful CJ Oltman. Welcome to the show, CJ.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Absolute pleasure to have you here. Now, you, along with your business partner, Brad, who won't be joining us today, you're the co-founder and CEO of a company called BannerWave, and you and I are going to be talking about how to use interactive ads in your business to create personalized brand experiences. Now, in that alone, there is so much to unpack. So before we do any of that, CJ, if you don't mind, if you could share with us where you're calling in from today.
So I'm calling in from Chicago, Illinois. And, grown up here my entire life and decided to stay in this area just because, all the great culture and, agencies, especially when it comes to advertising and marketing here, there's a great culture for that as well.
Yeah, now I've been looking through your Twitter feed and I've been looking at various sites, and some of the images that are on there just really caught my attention. Now, I know you're a bit of a foodie. Tell us a bit about some of the cuisine you like to get involved with.
Yes. So outside of my business side, I really do enjoy travel and eating food. Obviously, enjoying other cultures and histories. So that's also something that really inspires me too when I go and I'm doing work for clients. Just getting out of the office and allowing travel, people and the world to inspire you through the work that you do. And I think that does a lot for us, especially in terms of how we view advertising, being a servant to the consumer.
Absolutely. Now, in the times that we're living in, are you having much opportunity to do much travel at the moment?
I have. I actually just got back from Toronto. I went to the National Bank Open and saw some of the women's singles.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah,
it was great to be out there. My first time. Yeah,
fantastic. Now, I'm a bit of a pet lover. Do you love pets?
I do. I have 2 cats and a dog.
Oh, fantastic. Now, do they get along? Or do they fight like the cat and dog?
The introduction was interesting. They definitely have their own territories and things like that. But over time, they've gotten to really, be able to just coexist and almost enjoy being around each other and having that extra presence there.
Imagine that, enjoying each other's company. Now, this is what I think is very different about the My Future Business show, CJ, is that we learn a little bit about the people behind the businesses, because I think fundamentally businesses don't change all that much, but you must be busy. So I'd love to learn a bit more about, I guess, your day-to-day routines, but also, what does a typical day look like for you? Are you an early riser? Do you work late? What do you do?
I'm definitely an early riser. When I was younger, I was a late worker pulling those all-nighters. But for me now, as I'm 35 now, I enjoy getting to bed before midnight, and I'm usually up no later than 6 a.m. Sometimes I even get up at 4 a.m. depending on how early I get to bed. But I love the tranquility and peace of the morning. And I think there's a lot of things that you can get done. A lot of people are still in bed. Your phone's not ringing. You can get through emails and tasks and really do that, critical thinking without interruptions. So for me, I think the morning is probably my most productive time, just because being able to kind of get the day set up. And then in terms of, my day to day, our team always starts with, a full stand up in the morning where we talk about our plans for the day, what we want to focus on, get everyone set up. And then, based on what we're doing, obviously we're focusing on client projects, new business development, and then even things like this where we're trying to do some, leadership, marketing or knowledge leadership in the space.
Well, that's very interesting feedback. I'd love to take that into another level in a moment. But I wonder, as you, I guess, move through time, do you value your sleep more? And do you find yourself popping up, with a pen and paper at the side of the bed, taking ideas at some random hour of the night? Does that ever happen to you? Or do you sleep well?
I sleep well. I'm one of the lucky ones that sleeps well, but I do, in the morning, normally when I get up, that's when a lot of the ideas start flowing.
Mm.
Do a little meditation or, some stretching, yoga, things like that, just to kind of, get your mind focused on, things outside of work, and then allow yourself to kind of transition into that work mode.
Get consumed by it, yes.
Gradually.
Now, I'm a big fan of education, self-development. I love audiobooks. I love reading. What's your modus operandi in that regard? Do you like to take in an audiobook occasionally? How do you educate yourself?
So I read a lot of different articles that are online. Obviously, reading books. I just picked up Atomic Habits by James Clear,
Oh,
and so
yes.
things like that that really help me grow. Not only as an individual, but as an entrepreneur.
Yes, fantastic. Now, when we're growing up, I always love to ask this question because in my formative years, there were certain people around my life that really shaped me into the man I've become today. Did you have anybody in your life like that, CJ?
Oh, absolutely. My grandfather was definitely one of the people who helped shape me, with the creativity and through music, things like that. His hard work and, just the way he connects with people. He unfortunately had passed a little more than a year ago, but he's
Mm.
someone that has been one of my, best friends in life, and someone who's really inspired me and showed me the way to, be a good man and, a good friend, a good uh, brother, son,
Yes, absolutely.
everything. So.
He's always around. Just remember that. That's for sure and certain. Now I know that you just touched on music, and I know that you enjoy live music. What type of music do you like? I think it's pretty important to know that.
Oh, I'm pretty eclectic with my music. I have a background. I actually used to play some music. I had a background in rock music and things like that. And
Hmm.
then, I love everything from rock alternative to pop, hip hop,
The lot.
jazz and blues. So I'm a lover of music through and through.
Fantastic. Loving this call. Thank you very much for sharing. Earlier on, you talked about having stand-ups with your team, and I'd like to talk about your team, but primarily, if we could start with Brad, I'd love to learn a little bit more about how the relationship formed and, you've gone on to create this amazing business.
Yeah, it's funny. The way I met Brad was actually back. It had to be 2012, 2013,
Mm.
and it was actually a Flash project that we were working on. And so I needed to find a Flash developer that could help me create this interactive map that basically used different data and automatically changed, the hues, the colors, things like that within the map automatically. So our client could then each year update the data and see that same map kind of change and grow with the data that comes in. So I'd found him, and I was really struggling at the time to find, a developer that had, an eye for good design and creative. A lot of the time where I struggled initially, my background is in design.
Hmm.
So I needed obviously that yin and yang. I needed a developer to make all these beautiful things, come to life. And so, that's where I would bring in developers. And initially when I would bring them in, and that's probably due to my, lack of knowledge and, maybe not testing them or things like that. But in the beginning, I found myself doing a lot of internal back and forth, on the work before actually showing it to the client. So
Hmm.
there was a lot of, in terms of my, uh, my profit on the project, doing
Hmm.
things like that would obviously, decrease what I would make. And so I learned kind of the hard way of finding out what's really important in terms of the people that you choose to work with you, especially in terms of trust, and then in terms of, just the ability to really stand behind the work and have a good work ethic.
And see it through. Yes, there's some values in there that I'd love to talk about in a moment. But as an entrepreneur, you wake up one day and you go, you know what, I'm going to try this. And there's obviously inherent levels of risk that are associated with this. Now, keeping that in mind, that there are startups on this show who love to listen into this sort of thing. They're existing business owners and the likes who are listening in, and you've already walked the path. Now, tell us about the experience. Was it a nerve-wracking time when you decided that you were going to go into business and start something like this?
It definitely was. I'd say in the beginning, just kind of figuring it out. I only worked for an agency for a year out of college and then ended up going off on my own. So
Hmm.
I didn't have the typical, path of a designer working at, jumping around various agencies and things like that before kind of going into consulting or starting something on their own. I did it right away, which I think has its pros and cons. I did things a little bit differently than in the norm. But also on top of that, I think that there were things that I had to learn along the way in terms of internal agencies, like in how they structured themselves, how they worked, what they valued, because down the line, that's eventually who I would start partnering with is other agencies bringing me and my team in to help them produce work for their clients.
Did you find it difficult to build a team? Because oftentimes people are so, I guess, almost perfectionistic and they want to sort of grab every bucket and run with it themselves. Did you find it hard to let go at any stage? Here you go, here's a delegation, you do that and you do this. Was that difficult?
It is. It is letting it go, and especially when you're someone who likes to kind of have control or make sure that everything has that nice polish.
Yep, yep.
That I would say that's a challenge to kind of let that go. To bring anyone on a team, or to you got to allow them to make mistakes and fail and things like that, so that we can learn and kind of grow together. And I did them myself too as I was growing, so I had plenty of mistakes and things that I learned along the way. So I think that for me, especially when building a team, I am more interested in, they could be, better in terms of the skills, but if they're, who they are as a person, their personality and the way they work doesn't align with our team, then, obviously it's not a good fit.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can always train someone. You can always teach them, obviously these different types of expertise. So it's someone who's, eager to learn and wanting to do more. Those are the type of people that really, take it far. Um,
And go all the
Sometimes,
way.
you get the best experts and they just, they do things their own way. They're comfortable in that set, and, they don't really want to kind of shift. So
Yes,
that
yes.
could be a little bit hard.
Yeah. We have a lot of software experts and developers and the likes who join us on the show, so I'm sure that there's some very interested people listening in. And now I wonder, where do you get your best ideas from? Do you leverage your clients for your best ideas? How is it that I guess the BannerWave business structure and formation came about? Was it just organic or?
So it was funny. In terms of how BannerWave came about, we were actually at a previous agency before that, and it was just me and my business partner, Brad.
Mm,
And we just had contractors that we'd bring on for various projects as needed. But at the end of 2015, or, end of August, early September, that's when the browser stopped supporting Flash completely.
yes.
And so because of that, we had a idea that the market wasn't going to be ready. So we're like, you know what, we're going to create a sister company, and we're just going to translate people's HTML5, or I'm sorry, Flash ads into HTML5.
Yep.
So we started with that, and it actually ended up being really successful because we were one of the only ones doing it at the time and had a big influx of work. So we were very lucky in the sense that we kind of, found the right moment, right time. We went from working with small to medium-sized businesses to, large businesses and, Fortune 500 companies. So it was just a kind of luck of the draw, good thinking in the right moment, and allowed us to kind of expand in that way. And that's actually how we built our team around that. So.
Fantastic feedback. Thank you so very much. Now, just for context, I know there'll be a lot of people going, well, what type of large Fortune 500 organizations have you worked with? So would you mind sharing a little bit about some of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, we do a lot of work with Discover Financial. We've done work with Dell in terms of helping them create apps and things like that.
Hmm.
Discover in terms of helping with advertising. They have amazing in-house team over there that we love collaborating with. Um, and then, there are various others that we've done throughout our way, the Beam Suntory umbrella of alcohol. So, you got Cavassier, you got Cruise and Rum, all those things. So, we would make games for Cruise and Rum where it's like a Plinko game, and it goes down instead of just an ad that says, hey, pick up a bottle of Cruise, and, a brand awareness ad. We actually turned it into experience where it's a Plinko ad where you can drop a coin down, it goes to a cocktail, and it tells you how to make that cocktail. and allows you to play again or go to the website for more recipes. So we're trying to provide that experience where you're providing a meaningful interaction with the brand in that first step of the funnel.
Yeah,
So
I've seen some of the examples on there, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. This is, this is not just about banners really at all, is it?
we're a little bit ahead of the technology. So there's more, obviously this goes much more beyond banners in terms of interactive advertising, but we saw a opportunity there because, that's kind of the first step of the funnel when someone initially sees an ad.
Yep.
And we thought if we can bring something and make something happen in that first step of the funnel that decreases the steps to get to the consumer to what they need, whether that be an information or sign up form, whatever that be, that's something that we want to do. And if we could make it more, personalized and authentic to the user, that's going to make it even stronger. So that's kind of what we started focusing on. And that's why we wanted to start in the banner ad or display ad channel, because we saw so much opportunity there.
So does this actually flow on from just the banners themselves? Does it actually link into a funnel per se?
Yeah, well, I mean, so basically, normally you would have, say, an ad. Ad will drive you to, a landing page for you to fill out a form, and then, you go through this next steps. So, with ours, we can create ads that have a form fill right within it. We can create ads that you can say, hey, I want to see what type of personality type that I have. And so you answer, this or that questions within the ad, and it creates a dynamically personalized landing page for you based on the answers that you've selected within the ad. So, trying to bring that level of personalization and authenticity much earlier in the funnel to make users and consumers feel like, the ads are serving them and their needs rather than just pushing what the brand wants on them.
Yeah, I saw some of the other examples there. You choose your name for a particular drink and it would, drop down a chute, and then it would display your name on this can, and just some of the amazing things. There's so many questions that I have about this, but one of them that comes to mind is this, cost inhibitive for smaller businesses? Or tell us a little bit about that side of it.
So we do some very custom things for the larger brands, but we also started to create almost like, I wouldn't say like full-blown templates, but tools or vehicles to be able to sell these things. So we can have a dynamic banner with products in it that's based on where the user's location is. They'll show you certain products, sales, things like that. That's something that obviously if you have a brand that has products, we could technically repurpose that and just lay your brand feel and everything over that ad itself. So we're trying to bring things to market that are a little bit more canned, so that they're more approachable for small to medium-sized businesses. But we really work and love working kind of in that fully custom space where we get to build an experience, completely from scratch, and make it about the user, with the user at the center of the experience.
Absolutely, and we'll be talking about the onboarding and all that in a little while. But I overlooked it. What year did BannerWave start? When was it founded?
So we actually started in 2015. So right when that all the browsers stopped supporting Flash, we decided, let's just make the company and get it going.
So tell us a little bit about, I guess you've got a suite of services that I've seen here. I know that you've got a design background. There's a couple of questions in that. What do you think you do best personally? But also, what other types of services do you offer at BannerWave?
So, and are you talking about me personally?
Yes, you personally.
My position?
Yes.
Or me personally as a designer?
Well, we can answer both.
So I definitely, I've always loved design and things like that. And I think as you grow in your career, it's natural for you to get further away from actually being down in the trenches and doing that craft. And so, I think as you grow as a professional, I found myself now more, leading and training, other designers and teams to be able to kind of pull these things together so that they can then, be leaders themselves and cultivate the next line of amazing creatives and developers, things like that. So we really focus on education and collaboration with our team, and I think that's where we're really strong. In terms of, what was the other question? I'm sorry.
Know about your personal, superpower, let's call it, the thing you do really well.
Yes. So my personal one is, I think inspiring the team, keeping things positive, the glass half full mentality. It's easy for people to get, caught up in certain projects and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think bringing that, you know, empathy back into, the workplace, where you can empathize with whoever, the client, each other, and be there and support each other in times of needs. I think those types of things, cultivating a business that is not having employees as just a number,
Yep.
but having employees as, someone who, really gets the value. We have 100% covered health insurance. We have unlimited vacation, mental health days when people are feeling, then you just need some time
Pretty
off.
average.
So
Yep.
it's, I know it's kind of cliche to be like, oh, we're a family, but it is that sense of we all step up when someone, needs to take
Need
time
you.
off or
Yep.
right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I know that there's a world of difference between tactics and strategies. I'm wondering if you can tell us the difference about how you go around, I guess, balancing the two.
So strategy in terms of that, we will do a lot of strategy. And you're talking about strategy in terms of our
Campaign
business or,
strategy.
yes. So campaign strategy, it really depends on, the industry, the client or the brand in terms of what they're looking for from the
Mm-hmm.
user. So we want to build a campaign, strategy that serves obviously what they're looking to get out of the campaign in terms of their goals and KPIs. But in terms of the tactics that we do, we want to understand the way consumers are engaging with them. And if there's something that the brand even wants to find out, if they're like, hey, I want to, I'm offering training and I want to know if they like, A, B, or C more, if they're more interested
Mm-hmm.
in these. So within that, we can even track things within the ads themselves that add another layer of custom tracking on top of what traffickers already provide,
Yep. Yep.
so that we're able to be like, okay, 30% of the people said they wanted this, 20% said they wanted this, and 50% said they wanted this. So it's a way for us to kind of collect some, it's not personal information, but high level insights in terms of the target market.
So you've got your ad networks and you've got your, I guess, own media, your content management systems and the likes. Obviously, it would work across any ad network. Is that correct?
Well, yes, that's initially, it's, the interactive ads that we do are just on the display ad network right now.
Right.
There is some things that you can do, like Facebook has these Facebook instant experiences where you can kind of have a HTML5 experience within the ad itself. So there is opportunities to do it on social, but there are some things where, I think that we're just ahead of the industry right now. Passive advertising and all of that is still very, very big in the industry right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's still static images or, animated, simple animated
quite
videos.
quite boring by comparison from what I've seen.
Right. And, they're not personalized. And so it causes this consumer fatigue due to that lack of innovation and almost like, this digital white noise. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
by bringing something to them that's, number one, I mean, I know traffickers do a great job at targeting. So they'll target people to segment them based on their interests, purchasing patterns, income, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, right now they're forcing the messaging on the user rather than letting the user kind of consume and experience the messaging on their own terms, which I think is a big miss for a lot of advertisers and brands.
Absolutely.
Allowing the user kind of control the way they consume the content and also putting them at the center of the content or experience. I feel like that is really where the industry needs to go to get people back to actually trusting and believing in brands, because we've had a lot of,
Rubbish out
bad
there.
ways.
Yep.
Yes, bad ways that we've gone about advertising in the past and, collecting data. And it's no surprise that, consumers are not as trusting as they used to be.
Absolutely. And not only are the consumers less trusting, but also the ad networks themselves. Do you find it challenging at all when, are they, given that you're on the, I guess, the leading edge of this technology, when they talk about sending people to a landing page and having your terms and conditions all laid out in front of them, how do you navigate that part of the space?
So in terms of terms and conditions on top of,
When they're going into an interactive ad, I've seen an ad on the network and I add my details, it will take me somewhere. Does the ad network actually want to know where that's still going? What is that side
yes.
of the process?
Yeah, so we do have to provide the destination to the ad network,
Right.
where that's going, and then any types of terms and conditions would be within that, that destination or page, depending on, what's being asked for. If it's, hey, download, this,
This and that.
takeaway or resource that could be beneficial. So, for that, we do have to provide that, but what we're doing in that experience of that destination of where we're sending them, that's still something that we can control.
Right. Yeah. Now,
So,
tell us a little bit. I've just cut you off there because I had a very important question. I'm noticing in your creative design components area that you have not only a large array of sizes, which you would expect, but who does it actually full responsibility of to go and do the designs now? Because there are some amazing items to look at just by visiting bannerwave.com. Who does that side of the work? It's fascinating.
So it's a collaboration between our teams. So, I normally come in the beginning to help kind of define like what that tactic will be to actually like what we want the user, how we want the user to engage, what we want them to get out of the experience. And then we have our design team kind of go in there, amazing designers go in there and start concepting, ideating on what that could look like or how that could work.
Yep.
And then we'll come together as a team, developers, account managers and designers, everyone to kind of just bring their minds and thoughts together and make sure that we're hitting, every point that we need to on the campaign for the client. So it really is, it's definitely a collaborative experience. We found before that when we silo like development and design or, even not have an account manager in kind of that process behind the thinking,
Yep.
It allows everyone to be on the same page. It allows the account manager to explain things intelligently to the client. It allows the developers and designers to understand what things that they need from each other and where the boundaries lie to make sure that we can produce something of value within the client's budget and scope. So I think that's a really important part to making sure that a project is successful.
There are there are so many moving parts of this that it's just amazing how you can go from an idea, a concept, through to actually delivering these wonderful products that you're creating for at BannerWave. Now, I'm wondering, from inception, how long does it normally take? Is there a typical sort of timeline to deliver a product?
It depends. So, it's like, when you're doing ads like this that are interactive, it's almost like, think of building a website. If it's a website that's more just informational, kind of like a brochure website where you're just getting information and maybe providing a contact form, compared to something where maybe you are, displaying the weather and you're having a user login and a dashboard to manage their account. It kind of depends what the features and functionality are of the experience. But generally for a campaign or something like this, we've done things, rush timelines. We were able to pull something, out in a week. It's not desirable. Normally we'd like to have, 2 weeks to a month to really dig in and make sure that we are in line with what the client needs and not, rushing through it. We want to make sure that the investment is used, and getting the most that it can for the client.
Now, that ticks all the boxes for me. I'm a big fan of quality assurance and continuous improvement. Now, I know that you do have that particular focus inside of your business. Tell us a little bit about the assurance process behind the work that you do.
Yeah, so each deliverable that we do, so we do work on a lot of things outside of banner ads and all that. I know that BannerWave, obviously in the beginning it was focused on banners, but we do websites, completely custom web apps, things like that, custom mobile apps, email marketing, social media advertising, all that stuff. But the thing that we're most passionate about is the interactive side of things. So that's where we really
Shine.
love to be. I mean, our company is filled with nerds who love to play video games and build Legos, and they're truly creators in many different ways. And I think that allows them to, their love for that, in their personal lives actually brings a lot of value to the things that we build for clients as well. That creativity really comes out, and you can see our clients' eyes light up when we start talking about, these different opportunities that they have that really push the fold in terms of what their competitors are doing in the industry.
Because I often think about the relationship between you as BannerWave and your clients, and the relationships that you must need to build and forge over time. Do you find that you have ongoing relationships, and how important are they?
Oh, incredibly important. Having those ongoing relationships are what makes, these campaigns so successful. Doing these one-off projects or things like that, you don't really get to dig into it. And, even for a campaign that we would do, we, at minimum, we want to, work on a quarterly basis, because when we're starting, we have to, launch the campaign and ramp up the campaign within the first month. After we have that first month of data, within the second month, we're looking at ways to optimize it and help it, exceed its performance. And then in the third month, that's finally where it really kind of hits its stride. And so there's a lot of companies that'll come in and be like, hey, can we just, I just want to try you guys out for a month. Let's do this. But it's, it's not that easy. It's not something that, you're not going to go to the gym one day, and come out, with a six pack. So
No.
you do have to, work for this and actually, have your path and roadmap for success.
You have certainly come a long way from the guy who was in the band, and that's something I forgot to ask you. What instrument were you playing?
So I play the guitar and also sang in the band.
Fantastic. Were you good at it? Of course you
were pretty good. We were, we were around, the greater Chicago area, played a lot of shows over the years, things like that.
Love it.
It was just a fun way to get out. And I think that's also what really got me into that entrepreneurial spirit, working with venue managers, things like that, creating our own marketing. It definitely kind of played a heavy hand in my love for advertising in the digital space.
Oh, I can tell that, and I can just feel the energy coming out of BannerWave. There's certainly a lot going on there. Certainly, far more than just interactive ads as marketing. And if anybody wants to see it, we're going to be sharing the website domain and how you can get involved in a moment. But before we do that, CJ, I'd love to share with people what the onboarding process looks like.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So essentially what we do is we have normally like an intake and discovery process. So what we do is we provide them a client brief or a discovery form, just kind of understand what they're looking for, understand their industry, competitors, value propositions, things like that, the basic stuff that you'll want to need.
Yeah.
And then for our intake, we also want to understand, the campaigns that they've done in the past. We want to be able to see, their creatives, their tactics, their performance, the landing pages or destinations where these ads went to. That way we can do a comprehensive audit on that and along with their competitors, and can come back with something that is truly going to differentiate them and make them stand out, in a pretty saturated market.
Fantastic. So in all of this, one of the most important things at the pointy end of the call is to know where people can find you and BannerWave.
Yes, so you can find us at bannerwave.com. That's BANNERWAVE.com.
How's that? Wrapping it up with a bow tie right at the end there. Thank you so much, CJ. Now, if you're on the call today, you're interested in any of the things that we've spoken about, absolutely go and check out bannerwave.com. I'll be making sure that the link to bannerwave.com is available below this post. No matter where you see it, you're going to find the links back to CJ, Brad, and their wonderful team at BannerWave. Thank you very much, so very much, for joining me on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.